today I'm going to share with you a recording, or two recordings actually, where I recorded the voice of my guardian angel and his footsteps also as well on a digital tape recorder. It is not a sophisticated tape recorder. It's a simple, everyday little Olympus digital recorder that takes a couple of AAA batteries. So the microphone is not sophisticated per se, but you can hear it. But you probably will need to use headphones to hear his voice, but you don't really need it to hear his walking around because it's very clear. In addition, I'm also going to share another recording where I unintentionally, because I was not intending to record it, but I ended up with it, the voice of a demon trying to harass me. And it's twofold why I'm sharing this. First of all, the world is in desperate need of tangible evidence in a day like this of the reality of the biblical truths. I say desperate need because the devil has unprecedented tools in order to spread and reinforce one of his powerful strongholds, which is a stronghold on doubt. Now, strongholds in and of themselves aren't bad, but they are when they are used by Satan, because Satan uses strongholds to build strongholds of falsehoods, strongholds of lies, in order to lead astray people with the goal to take them to hell. But through today's mediums, like tools like television, tools like the internet, particularly though, tools that provide never before opportunities where unbelievers can enter and remain in places where believers gather, such as forums on the internet, or even threads on places like YouTube, where people who have come together to watch something faith-building can then be without restraint open to remarks from unbelievers. Whereas before, if you went to a household of somebody, or you went to a place specifically for a Christian gathering, it was the like would go to the like, and it would be quite unusual for an unbeliever to come in. And even then, so he didn't have open range, just without any kind of filtering, just come against the people. And the devil is using this to sow doubt that can really wear against a person. It can leave them wondering, because one of the things that I have seen and that goes on is that such people might make a person feel like a primitive, or make them feel crazy, or sow the doubt on the ground of science that it's a byproduct of the brain. Any of these things that are faith, that have to do with God, that have to do with Jesus, that angels and that demons are fairy tales, that everything is fairy tales, you're primitive. But the truth is, in the Bible, in the days of the Lord, and even before so, God was providing evidence in the physical realm that his kingdom, his truths are true. And he was providing experiences to the eyes of the believers and to their ears that he controls everything, and that it is not a byproduct of the mind. For instance, when Jesus rose from the dead, he manifested himself before the apostles, and he did so they could believe, to strengthen their belief, even though they were going on faith. He still did it to strengthen their belief. He manifested before them. He said they could touch his flesh, and that he even sat and he ate with them, so that he could explain to them that a make-believe cannot eat, cannot consume food. So this is not something unusual. And throughout time, the Lord has been providing similar evidence to help strengthen the body of Christ. So pretty much what I'm going to share with you is not so much spectacular because of its content, because in reality what I have is very short, it's simple, but it's not the only thing that I have. I have a lot of it. But what I'm going to share now is very simple. You're going to hear my angel speak once. You'll hear my angel walk around briefly. Then I will share, well, you're going to hear a demon trying to harass me, just saying a brief thing. And even later on, demons trying to continue on their same antics by making noises as I sleep. Now, all this was taking place while I was sleeping, so for better or worse, you're going to hear me snoring as well while this is going on. And that part I'll just let be. The thing is, though, is that what these recordings are is they're spectacular due to the implications. The implications that destroys the stronghold of doubt, because of a fairy tale, a myth that you have been perhaps sharing with your children, you will not be able to get on a recording. You will not be able to play back the voice of the real an elf or a real unicorn name. You will not be able to produce it because they're truly fairy tales. And the same thing of your imagination. If you have been truly imagining the things of your faith, then you will not be able to, no matter how much effort you try, in genuineness, produce any kind of tangible evidence. And the same thing is also true of a product of a dying mind, hallucinations, etc. So this why it's spectacular what I'm presenting to you, because these things are true, because angels are real, because demons are real. They are able to be tangibly recorded. Now, even though this is a low-end equipment I have, compared to 30 years ago, the recorders we have are far more sensitive. So we're able to, well, at least I was able to, because I have a lot of supernatural encounters. And one of the periods when I was getting a lot of visitations at the time, capture it. Now, my only regret at the time that this happened is I intended, when I did get that, and I was not looking to get the demon's voice, but the only reason I did record either of them was because it was during a time when my angel was coming to me, and I was I found that my animals as well also would perk up, hear, and listen. So I said to myself, you know what, if my animals can do it, why, maybe I can record it and I can share it with the people, the church that I was going with. And in this vein, was why I did it, not because I actively go after to seek it, which I strongly urge against, because you do not want to invite the supernatural. If you're not standing in faith, you do not want to be seeking to capture the supernatural as some kind of effort of a single-minded effort of yours, because you more likely are going to open you don't want to give a toehold to Satan to your life. You do not want to give a toehold to Satan in your life, and you do not want to be going around capturing recordings, because unless you know what you're doing, you're going to open yourself up to demonic problems and demonic troubles. Let me first begin with the recording of the demon. It's best if you have the headphones and you plug it up to turn up the volume, but pretty much in this one, first what you're going to hear is a female demon. The voice is female. And you're going to hear her sinister plan to cause me grief while I'm sleeping. She just simply says 2 words. But when she says it with a voice that can be recorded. But the interesting thing about it is the voice is not really a voice that can be done just by human vocal cords. It has a supernatural sound to it, like in the movies, which is kind of interesting. So while they can speak, they're obviously not speaking with vocal cords of flesh. It mystifies me how, but they're still speaking. And she says very sinisterly 2 words, "Wake up." And you hear me snoring. And then she laughs, very evil laugh. And I did not wake up, though. However, you hear me continuing to snore. So that's what you're going to hear. I hope that you were able to hear this female demon speaking. Now on the other side, now let me play for you the voice of my angel, my guardian angel. Also, I didn't hear him speaking, but what I was hearing during this time was, and what moved me to do it, was him walking around. And when the angel, there was a pattern. This started happening the last couple of years when I was going through, I was targeted as an assignment of Satan, which Satan actually has targeted all the saints. Not only has he targeted all people, but he's particularly targeting people who are standing in holiness and righteousness. But when my angel would appear, and I could hear him, and my animals could hear him as well, I found had a pattern. It ended up being whenever I was going to have some kind of life-threatening problem or some kind of trouble too hard for me to handle alone, when I was alone, the angel would come 2 or 3 days ahead of time, and first he would make himself known by landing. It would actually land. It was really interesting because even though he was behind the canopy curtain at the foot of my bed, because I had a king size bed then, and I had the end of the bed with a canopy sheet that was not see-through, but burgundy in color and 100% cotton, so it could not be seen through. And he would walk behind that curtain. He would go back and forth in that area. But he would first land, and when he would land, he it sounded precisely as a man who was about 200 pounds would sound, as if he was wearing sandals, and he had been on a ladder about 5 foot high and leapt off and landed right on the tile, which is what I had in that floor. You can't mistake it. You can hear the sound of his weight. You know, you hear that in his sandals meeting that tile. And then he would pace. He would just walk a little bit right there. And it would wake me up when I'm hearing him pacing. But on the actual day, whatever the problem would be, his pacing would get very emotional. And that's how I would know that would be whatever day. So the purpose I found of this is that when I got to see this pattern, I would be alerted something was going to happen to me I had to pay attention to. And that alertness would make all the difference in the world to my handling whatever it was. So anyways, this one time I had decided to see if I could capture it, because my dogs also, when he would come, they would sit up in the bed, because they in the bed with me, 3 dogs. They would sit up and they would listen. They would not bark though, which was interesting. They would not bark. So anyways, what you're going to hear is my angel had the voice of a man. And what I caught him saying was the opposite nature of that demon. That demon female, she was clearly trying to put wickedness to me, to disturb me. But she could not, obviously she could not touch me. All she could do was just heckle, you know, which didn't have any effect on me. I slept without any issues. I didn't have any disturbing dreams of any kind. My angel, you could hear him say 4 simple words, but they were so tender. And he said, "There now, you're sleeping." And you can hear him say that. And I don't know if you can hear me snoring at the time. And then I also, adding to this, you can hear him later on, one of the times he's walking around, you can hear his footsteps. And like I said, it's not spectacular in the of what is being said, the amount of it. It's simple. It's not the only things that I have though, however, but it's spectacular in that it's 100% genuine, 100% authentic. It's truly there. You can truly hear a demon female being a demon, trying to be wicked, trying to cause me grief. And then later on, you can hear those demons snapping their fingers to try to wake me up again, malicious like demons. And then you have the other side where you hear an angel who is guardian to me in a guardian fashion, with as a caretaker, like a caretaker would say to a baby that finally fell asleep, to someone who was finally having grief, who finally went to sleep. "There now, you're sleeping." And then later on, you can hear the angel walking around, pacing, in a vein of a protector. So we see 2 things: demons being demons, trying to steal, destroy, rob, and harm, and an angelic realm, protecting and caring, and a loving vein. So let me now play for you the angel, so you can hear the angel. Again, the male voice is a little harder to hear than the female, but if you have a good headphones and a good audio, you can hear them. And but the footsteps you can definitely hear. You don't have to use the headphones for that. So let me now play it. If you're one of those still with me and was able to hear the demon. you know what? This has to really knock your socks off, even if it's just a little thing, because this is actual, genuine recording of an angel speaking, an actual, genuine recording of a demon speaking, actual, genuine, hard evidence on the devices of men that show these things are not figment of the imagination. The devil wants you to have doubt. He wants you to think that maybe you're primitive, maybe you're crazy, maybe you're being influenced and you're getting swept up in a cult and you're foolish for believing. And the truth that there is a hell that's destined for people who do not believe and walked away, and that there's a heaven. There is a small parcel of it, but its implication is vast. It's huge, because it actually occurred. These things actually occurred. I pray that you will take this to heart, to take advantage of the time of grace still available before the Lord comes, whether he comes in the clouds like he is going to come and the trumpet blows, that you will be found ready to go, or if your life is required of you ahead of time, so that when you go, you will be found without spot or wrinkle, that you will turn a deaf ear and you're going to reject Satan, trying to get you to turn from the faith, trying to get you to dismiss the need to take seriously every word in the Bible about how we get to heaven, about holiness and righteousness, that you do not dismiss the Lord and his word when he says strive to enter heaven. Strive, because this does take a dedication and a commitment to the full teaching of Jesus. Fantasies, myths, products of the imagination are the lies of the devil.
Warfare has no neutral ground.